You're done. I'll go after the death penalty. I'll push, and I'll push until I get everything I need to make sure you go down hard for this. You consider yourself a man?
Then stand up. No, stand up and be a man, okay?
Own up.
Own up to what you've done. Do you understand? You shake your head at me, you look at me. I just want to make sure you understand.
I'm trying to.
Okay, then speak up and tell us.
The person you are looking at is a 29-year-old man by the name of Matthew Livers. Matt is currently being interrogated at the Plattsmouth Police Department following the brutal murders of his aunt and uncle. The events that preceded and come to follow this interview can be epitomized with one word: terrifying. However, in order to fully understand the context of this case, we will now start at the beginning. On April 16, 2006, in the small town of Murdoch, Nebraska, Wayne and Sharmon Stock were celebrating Easter Sunday at their local church, among several other town residents. The town had a small population of just 300 people, and to this little community, Wayne and Sharmon were known as a wholesome couple in their 50s who have been described as tremendously loving and open-hearted. They were successful farmers whose family had tended to their land for generations. Once the church service had wrapped up, the Stokes went back home where they had set up an Easter egg hunt for their grandchildren. After spending some quality time with their family, they parted ways. The next morning, their son Andy Stock went to the family farmhouse, located at 9503 286th Street, to speak with his parents. It was ominously quiet for a time that would typically be filled with chores. He entered the home and ran up the stairs. He then found his parents lying on the floor, surrounded in blood. It appeared that they had been brutally gunned down. Andy immediately placed a call to 911, and the investigators quickly arrived on the scene. After doing the initial examination of the home, investigators began piecing together what may have happened. The first thing that they noted was that there was a window left open with the screen removed. However, it did not appear that there was any sign of a forced entry. When studying the bullet holes, it appeared that the first bullet fired may have missed its target, as it was found deep inside the mattress. Investigators believed that after the first shot was fired, Wayne then fought to disarm the gunman. However, the second shot was then fired, which hit Wayne directly in the knee. As Wayne crawled away, Sharmon hurried to call for help, but before the call was placed, Wayne was executed with a single shot to the back of the head at close range. While Sharmon continued to struggle to dial 911, she was shot directly in the face, killing her instantly. The community was shocked, outraged, and overwhelmed by fear. A town once known to be safe enough to leave the doors unlocked now had a vicious killer on the loose. The farmhouse was located down a dark gravel road, away from any significant traffic. The murders did not appear like a robbery gone wrong, since a lot of the Stokes' valuables were left out in the open, yet not a single item was missing. This led investigators to believe that these murders may have been a crime of passion. Statistically, 84% of all murders are committed by close family or friends, and based on the way that this home was left, the culprit must have known where they were going, as when they entered the house, they went directly upstairs to kill Wayne and Sharmon. After a few conversations with members of the Stoke family, rumors of one disgruntled family member in particular were revealed. Apparently, Matt Livers, who was Wayne and Sharmon's nephew, felt left out of the fortune emerging from the family's successful hay business. Sharmon's brother even told investigators that Sharmon would constantly worry about Matthew attacking or murdering her. Officers quickly decided that Matt was at the top of their list of people of interest. They then invited him to the police department, where he took part in an interrogation. This brings us right back to the interview at the beginning of this video.
This is considered a non-custodial interview. You're free to leave at any time.
Well, I'm here to cooperate with you, gentlemen.
Okay, and that's just for the record.
Yeah.
So you don't think that you're being trapped here, and if any time you go, I'm not happy and don't want to be here, you can leave.
Okay.
Let's take this in baby steps, all right? Let's try to make this as simple as possible. Man, I'm trying to help you piece this together because we already know the truth, man. The truth is, you got a gun, right or wrong.
Right.
And you took that gun back to your Uncle Wayne and Aunt Sharmon's house, right? Right or wrong? Come on, man.
Right.
And you saw them laying in bed, right or wrong?
Right, I guess. Right.
Right. And you fired a shot at your Uncle Wayne.
Right.
And what happened next? I want you to tell me.
Then I pulled that trigger and shot her. And then she screamed more. I just put the gun to her face and blew it away.
Okay.
And then as I headed out, I just stuck it to him and blew him away.
Now tell me how you're feeling.
Like shit.
But breathing a little easier than you were before.
Yeah.
Doesn't make anything. No, it doesn't make it better.
No.
It ain't gonna bring him back.
No. I fucked up.
This is a really important question. You were alone that night. Is that right or wrong?
Right.
There was somebody else with you, wasn't there?
Yeah.
The reason the detectives are pressing Matt for an accomplice is due to the blood spatter at the crime scene. The pattern on the wall indicated that somebody else was standing in between the wall and the victim during the shooting.
You weren't alone that night. Who else was with you?
Nick Sampson.
Nick Sampson is Matt's cousin. Matt was always considered a black sheep in the family, apparently due to his lack of impulse control and mindfulness. Nick was one of the only people that Matt was close to, so it would make sense if he was an accomplice.
Hey, sit here for just a second, okay? Then I'll get you that potty break and stuff and the smoke break. All right? Sit here for a second.
To the detectives, this interrogation was an important victory. They made an ambitious push for a confession and it paid off. They now had one killer in custody and they didn't hesitate to jump on to the next suspect. With their guns drawn, they raided Bulldog's Bar and Grill, where Nick Sampson worked. They dragged him out of the kitchen and slammed him on the floor. They then handcuffed him. Nick was then escorted directly back to the police station for questioning.
If you really dig down deep inside yourself, if you're involved in this, you let me know now, and we can work it out.
I did nothing. I had nothing 100% to do with this at all.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about it until Monday night, until I got the phone call from my sister.
So if I come and I bring a photograph up here, you're ready to do it?
I am.
Right here, right now? Do it.
Nick proceeded to take a polygraph test and failed. It seemed like the detectives now had both killers in custody. However, we have not been fully transparent. The snippets from Matt's interrogation that we previously presented were only a small selection. The questioning actually lasted about 8 hours, in which the detectives striked out many more times than they hit home runs. What we are about to show you is a transcribed version of that same interview. However, this time around, the focus will be on Matt's persistent denial of the allegations made against him.
This is considered a non-custodial interview. You're free to leave at any time.
Well, I'm here to cooperate with you, gentlemen.
Okay. What kind of person do you think goes into someone's house and shoots somebody and takes their life?
Sicko. A sick person, that's what I think. But I don't know. I mean, we're like you. We want to know the who, what, when, why, and how, and who.
You don't admit to me exactly what you've done. I'm gonna walk out that door and I'm gonna do my level best to hang your ass from the highest tree. You're done. I'll go after the death penalty. I'll push, and I'll push until I get everything I need to make sure you go down hard for this. There is no second chance as I'll look at you and piss on you. I didn't have anything to do with this.
You did.
I did not.
You did.
I did not, Bill.
You did.
No, I didn't.
I'm sorry. You did. You're thinking too hard. You got your mind just spinning, going, I'm trying to get out of this. What do I say to these guys? We've got so many people sitting in that chair, okay, that think that they're smarter than us, and you're not.
No.
Okay?
Dumb as a brick.
No, you're not dumb as a brick, okay? You made a mistake.
Get fucked up.
You did. You fucked up, and now you got to pay for it.
Let's take this in baby steps, all right? Let's try to make this as simple as possible. Where did you get the shotgun from?
The only one I have is locked up in my dad's gun safe. And I don't even know where the keys are for it.
Man, I'm trying to help you piece this together. Because we already know the truth, man. The truth is, you got a gun. Right or wrong?
Right.
And you took that gun back to your Uncle Wayne and Aunt Sharmon's house, right? Right or wrong? fired a shot. That's your Uncle Wayne.
Right.
And what happened next? I want you to tell me.
Don't remember.
You don't remember. But you got pretty close to Aunt Sharmon, didn't you?
Right, I guess. I don't know.
And you fired a shot to shut her up. Is that right? I need you to say it out loud, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All right. You started to say it. Come on. Let it go.
Then I pulled that trigger and shot her. And then she screamed more. Then I just...
You just what, buddy?
put the gun to her face and blew it away.
Okay.
And then as I headed out, I just stuck it to him and blew him away.
Now tell me how you're feeling.
Like shit.
It is debatable whether or not detectives should be permitted to threaten a suspect with the death sentence. On one hand, the pressure to admit guilt in order to avoid a death sentence could bring a legitimate murderer to justice. But on the other hand, this same pressure could also trick an innocent person into perceiving that they need to choose between two options. They either buckle down to their claim of innocence and hope that the court does not sentence them to capital punishment, or they make a false confession, which may provide a better likelihood that they will be able to live out their natural life in prison. If you're at all familiar with the case of Steven Avery, which was made famous by the Netflix docu-series Making a Murderer, then you may have noticed an alarming similarity between this interrogation and that of Brendan Dassey. At 16 years old, Brendan confessed to being a party to the murder, mutilation, and assault of Teresa Halbach, along with his accomplice and uncle Steven Avery, who he was eventually brought to testify against. However, after changing his story multiple times leading up to the trial, he took the stand and testified that he had lied about his and his uncle's involvement during his initial interrogation.
Was Teresa Halbach alive at 5 o'clock, Mr. Dassey?
She was never there when I was there.
Never where, sir?
I never seen her there.
And you lied to the police?
Yes?
Are you lying? You're lying today?
No?
How is it that you were able to tell the police officers so much detail about what happened to Teresa if you weren't there?
I don't know.
What do you mean, sir, you don't know?
I could have got it out of books.
What book that you read ever had the story of a woman chained to a bed, stabbed, and then her body thrown on a fire? What book was that, sir?
I believe it was called Kiss the Girls.
According to the Innocence Project, about 25% of wrongfully accused cases involve a false confession. Although Brendan Dassey was later convicted for his involvement in Teresa's murder and remains behind bars to this day, experts believed that Brendan Dassey's confession was purely the result of a suggestible individual being coerced. That is exactly what is happening to Matt Livers in his interrogation. He is another case of a suggestible person with a below-average IQ being guided to provide a story that fits the detective's agenda. They accomplished this through persistence and intimidation. Thankfully, in the case of Matt Livers, he was able to quickly recognize the mistake that he had made, and 2 days after his initial confession, he recanted his statements.
You got something on your mind, let me know about it.
Okay, I mean, absolute truth here. I was never on the scene. I don't know if Nick is the actual person involved in this. I've been just making things up to satisfy you guys. I mean, I can't believe they're even coming out of my own mouth, to be honest. That's the whole...
You're jerking me around now.
No, sir.
Yeah, no, you are.
No, sir.
I'm telling you, yesterday there was absolutely no doubt you are involved in this. But now you're going to pull I'm jerking you guys around, deal?
I mean, I wish I would have said that from the beginning.
Unfortunately, the detectives were only abrasive and dismissive to Matt. They essentially hid this footage for 6 months, and it was only discovered in the preparation for Matt's trial by Matt's defense team. It also turns out that the inexperienced administrator scoring Nick's polygraph scored it incorrectly. These weren't the only things that the detectives knowingly dismissed. Early on, a gold ring was found at the crime scene with the names Corey and Ryan engraved on the outside. The ring did not belong to anybody in the family, and that was the full extent that law enforcement looked into it. However, going against the grain was one particular member of the homicide unit who noticed a model number engraved on the inside of the ring, beginning with AAJ. They tracked this model number to the company that made it, A&A Jewelers, the day before they were shutting down their business due to bankruptcy. There were 2 locations that distributed across the entire United States to various sellers, such as Gordon's, Zales, and Walmart. After looking through thousands of documents and making about 70 phone calls, they found the Walmart it was distributed to, 8 hours away from the crime in Wisconsin. It turns out that it was a custom order by a woman named Corey who had bought the ring for her boyfriend, Ryan. When the detectives spoke to the couple, Ryan said that the ring was in his red Dodge pickup truck that was stolen 2 days before the murders, along with some money and a 12-gauge shotgun with ammunition. Law enforcement was able to hunt down the couple who had stolen the truck, Greg Fester and Jessica Reid, who were 19 and 17 years old. They were in Wisconsin, but they had actually taken the truck on a multi-day joyride down south to Louisiana, passing through Nebraska on the way, before returning home. The truck was seized for examination. The police found Mr. and Mrs. Stokes' DNA all over the vehicle. They were also able to collect DNA off of Greg and Jessica, and matched it to the DNA found on a marijuana pipe, which was found in the Stokes' front lawn. Investigators wanted to get to the bottom of what had actually happened, so they brought the couple into the Wisconsin police station, where Nebraska detectives interrogated them, beginning with Greg.
How you doing?
So then you guys ended up with this truck.
Yeah,
And where'd you go from there?
Chicago area. And then we went around. And we somehow made it into that state,
What state's that?
in Nebraska.
So do you want to talk to me for real? Or do you want to keep playing this?
Tell them what happened.
Unfortunately, Greg wouldn't give the detectives much information about what had happened in Nebraska, so they moved on to Jessica.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
I have to scoot over.
Oh, you're good. Can get a little crowded for a second. It's very important that you be totally honest with us and truthful about anything we ask you, okay? Can you do that for us?
Can we skip through to those subjects though? Because I have stuff to do at 12:30. My grandma's coming into town and I want to do this, but I want to do it a little bit faster and I know this is going to take forever.
Okay, can we have you for about an hour?
I guess.
Okay. So you're just driving on the roads and you're just looking for farmhouses to break into for cash.
Pretty much, yeah, 'cause we were running out of gas and stuff.
You found $500 in cash in this house.
Yeah, but I just remember taking the money and then we just left.
Okay.
That's all I remember from this.
Did you go anywhere else in the house?
No, because why? If you're going to have $500, be a smart criminal and take off right away.
All right. The reason I ask you is that the 2 people upstairs in their bed were shot to death.
And you're saying that me and Greg did it.
What I'm telling you is that you're telling us you're in this house, okay?
Considering the information provided by the investigators, Jessica is undoubtedly shitting her pants. In this moment, she realizes that the evidence against her is overwhelming. This feeling can be compared to the adrenaline felt directly before a car crash. Her heart has dropped and her livelihood is in jeopardy. Jessica reacts to this feeling by frantically over-providing details. She goes on to explain one reason why she is innocent of the murders, then she abruptly stops and switches to stating another reason. She does this multiple times.
Did you not tell?
Oh my God. I've never killed anybody, okay? I really didn't. This is so serious, please. If Greg killed anybody, I don't know. If he did, I'm sorry. I took money. That's all I did. I swear to God. All I did was take money. All I did was was paid $500. I don't know why. I don't want to go to jail for murder because I didn't do it. Why were these people murdered? Oh my God.
It goes without saying, these moments only make the detectives more suspicious of Jessica.
You need to listen to us for just a second.
Slow down.
All right? We need you to talk to us because we need to fit the pieces of this puzzle together. And you're telling us that you found this envelope of money just sitting there. There wasn't anybody else around.
It was just us. I swear to God, okay?
If you didn't kill somebody, who were you with or dead?
I don't know.
Because it's that simple.
I don't know.
To the detectives, things weren't adding up. How could this random teen have stumbled upon this farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere? Why would they go directly upstairs and shoot an innocent couple for no reason? Even Jessica herself was saying that they didn't harm them, so who did? In the minds of the detectives, this could not have been a coincidence, so they pressure Jessica some more, trying to make the connection between Greg, Jessica, Matt, and Nick.
Do you know anybody in Nebraska? Stop any bars, meet people, score any dough?
No.
Tell us who you were with.
I was with Craig.
Anybody else?
I don't know anybody in Nebraska.
Where were you?
I didn't even know I was in Nebraska. I have no idea who that is. I'm not even kidding you. I've never seen that guy in my life. Nope, never seen him either. I've never seen any of these people that you're showing me right now. I'm not kidding any of you. Fingers are not crossed. I have no idea who they are.
I want you to focus on him for a second. I want you to search deep, deep down inside and tell me if you recognize that guy.
I'd recognize him if he's got a weird head. I don't know.
You need to do better for yourself than this, Jessica. You really do. I don't think you completely appreciate the gravity of the situation here.
I'm really...
This is like no trouble you've ever been in your life, for what's left of it. That's how people get the electric chair, the gas chamber.
Doesn't get any worse than this.
No, no worse than this. You need to take care of yourself, or you will have no life. You will have none. It will be over. You have to tell us what happened. And that's what will save you. And that's the only thing that'll save you.
Once again, when the suspect continued to deny the detective's narrative, they resorted to threatening them with the death sentence. While the methods of execution that he listed may seem gruesome and barbaric to many, these examples are actually still considered constitutional and are practiced in some cases to this day. According to the Death Penalty Information Center, 8 of the United States authorized the electric chair, with South Carolina having it as their primary method of execution, while 9 states authorized lethal gas as a plausible option. Additionally, in 2019, there were 19 exoneration cases in which the suspect was threatened with the death penalty. 95% of these cases were wrongful convictions, in which official misconduct or a false accusation was present. It is misconduct like this that results in false confessions, which in turn can result in the real killer getting away with the crime.
Well, I do remember meeting this guy.
From what?
I just remember meeting him. I don't
Jessica,
know how...
You need to come up with details.
I know.
Jessica, how old are you?
I'm 17. This is why this is freaking me out.
Well, guess what? At 17, your life is going to be done unless you start being straightforward with us.
This guy is scary.
Hey, scary. We know that.
And if he did it, I don't know for sure if this guy did it, but if he did it, put him in jail. Okay, we met up with these guys. We snuck into the house, and I took the money. They shot somebody, and I left because I didn't know. I didn't even know they were going to murder these people. And I remember we went in here, and I took the money, and then all of a sudden, I heard bang, bang, bang. And I looked over at Craig, and I said, we need to go now. So we left.
You're doing a good job.
Am I going to be able to, can I go home today, though?
So don't worry about that right now. You need to focus on this.
Why did we have to meet those 2 people right there? Why did we have to meet them? I'm serious. Why did we have to meet them? Now I can't go home again. Now I'm stuck with detectives again. I want to punch these guys
Well,
so bad. If I end up in jail with them or if I go to court with them, I'm going to punch them both. I'll get a disorderly conduct. I don't even care.
As the interrogation wrapped up, the detectives used this moment to celebrate. Jessica was then escorted back to a cell in the county jail. During Jessica's interrogation, police were searching her house. Inside, they found a cigarette carton with a single 12-gauge shotgun shell, the same kind found in the Stoke residence. They also found a love letter from Jessica to Greg, where she said that they had just killed some people and she loved it. She even wrote that if Greg didn't want to repeat a similar crime in the future, she would still go on to do it again anyway. To the investigators, this was a written confession to being a proud, cold-blooded killer. They now had a clear narrative. Jessica and Greg stopped at Bulldog's Bar and Grill, where they met Matt and Nick, and with nothing to lose, they went with them to the Stoke residence to rob it. Matt's true incentive became clear when he headed straight upstairs and murdered his aunt and uncle. They then fled the scene. However, the means by which the interrogators built this narrative failed them yet again. Jessica was also smart enough to recant her confession as well.
Greg blew the guy's head off. And he shot a hole through the lady's face.
Oh, we did? Really? And you didn't have nothing to do with that?
What was I supposed to do?
The first time you even start to stray from me, I've got all I need. I don't need to be sitting here right now talking to you. So you quit dancing around with me, because I know the truth.
I am not kidding you guys. We were the only ones there. I don't know any of those other people. I am not lying. I swear to God, I don't know any of those other people.
You have a nice rest of your life.
No, you guys, seriously, listen to me. I don't know those other people, okay? I have no idea who they were. It was me and Greg by ourselves.
You are so full of crap.
And you're done. And so am I.
That's what happened, though.
We'll see you in Nebraska.
Are you kidding me?
No, we're not kidding.
I tell you guys the story, and
Yeah, you told us the story, but it wasn't all the truth. It was a story.
The last thing that I'm going to explain
well,
to
who
you.
was supposed to be
last
there?
thing I'm going to
Who
explain.
was supposed to be there? Who else was supposed to be
Shut
there?
up.
We have people in jail in Nebraska that have confessed to their involvement too. So you can't tell me. No, don't look at me that way. You can't tell me.
Oh my God. Just put me in my cell. I'm just going to sit there for the rest of my life. Because this is wow.
Met with the same dismissiveness and abrasion as Matt, Jessica requested a private meeting with the Wisconsin detectives to confide in them what she claimed to be the truth.
I don't know these other two people they're talking about. They won't let me tell them the truth. They are not involved in it. Somebody please believe me.
This brings us to a similar position as to where we left off with Matt. Two people have confessed and proceeded to take it back. With only recanted confessions, it's debatable whether or not the case against them would be taken seriously without more forensic evidence. When speaking to the family of Wayne and Sharmon, police discovered that Nick's brother, Will Sampson, had access to a tan sedan. It turns out that on the night of the murders, police reported a suspicious car driving at very high speeds right near the farmhouse. It was also a tan sedan. In good faith, Will handed over his car to the police, but he was certain neither of the boys had been in his car for a long period of time. Oddly enough, the car had been completely detailed the morning after the murders. Upon first inspection, the car seemed squeaky clean, with no sign of evidence that would help the detective's case. The investigators needed to pull out all the stops. David Caffode was brought in from Omaha to take the lead. He was described as a legendary superstar detective from the Douglas County CSI unit and was named Mr. Nebraska twice thanks to his stunning physique. He helped find the key forensic evidence in several high-profile cases. Caffode re-inspected the crime scene as well as any physical evidence they had obtained, including the tan sedan. Lo and behold, he swabbed beneath the dashboard behind the steering wheel, tested it in a lab, and a mere 7 nanograms of DNA was found. It matched with the blood of none other than Wayne Stoke. This evidence, along with Nick's polygraph and the confessions, would guarantee the prosecution and likely conviction of all of the suspects involved. Many believed that this case was game, set, and match, but some, including the attorneys representing Matt Livers, could not shake the feeling that something fishy was going on. How was it that David Caffode found this microscopic speck of blood when there was no blood to be found in the rest of the vehicle? Common sense told them that he had planted the blood. They filed a lawsuit claiming that the investigation had been mishandled from the very beginning, and superstar David Caffode was indicted, charged for tampering with evidence.
It's day 3 of the evidence tampering trial of Douglas County CSI Director Dave Kofod. 2 of his investigators take the stand to defend their boss. Christine Gabig says she never thought Kofod planted evidence, even though he found blood in the same car that she had previously searched and found no blood.
If one person processes some information and doesn't find anything, and then another person processes some information and does find something, does that call into question the reliability and integrity of either the first or the second person?
If they're using the same techniques, it could call into their skill level. I mean, it could call a lot of things into question.
Prosecution says Kofod planted the blood and in the process implicated 2 innocent men in the 2006 murder of a Murdoch farm couple.
Kofod claimed that it was an accident. To swab the vehicle, he had used a presumptive blood test kit that was already used at the crime scene, and it therefore must have been contaminated with blood. However, Matt's team believed that Kofod was called in by 2 inexperienced detectives after they realized that they had botched the case beyond repair, resulting in Kofod fabricating the blood in the car. Kofod's team retorted to this, stating that if he wanted to frame anybody, he would have done a much better job, using Matt's other belongings to directly tie him to the crime.
The state has met its burden of proof and has established beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty of the crime as charged, count 1, tampering with physical evidence.
David Kofod was found guilty. Before his sentencing, he participated in an interview with a local news station.
I guess it's going to actually maybe potentially come true is that I'd rather go to jail than admit to something I didn't do. I felt pretty good. I mean, I'm not, you never know. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that's it's out of your hands, but I didn't feel bad about it, so I got fooled. I never thought we had to prove different theories. I think that there was reasonable doubt, and that was just my opinion. These were execution-style homicides, and there was biological matter sprayed all over.
So how did Wayne Stokes' blood end up in a car that had nothing to do with the crime? 1/7 of a gram of it.
I think it came from us because we had all the contact with the scene. The thing that I think is so nonsensical is that to plant evidence in a third party's car might help to connect them to the car, but you can't prove anything. Honestly, it just destroyed me financially.
Kofod says he hopes to maintain a steady income as he continues the next wave of proving he did nothing wrong.
And my life's not done. I mean, it's pretty steep change in my life, but my life's not over. I've already moved on in some respects. I hope you understand, I'm not done.
He was sentenced to serve 20 months to 4 years in prison. He also faced judgment for the damage his crime had caused Matt Livers and Nick Sampson. He was ordered to pay compensatory and punitive damages to the 2 men, amounting to $6.5 million in total. For Nick, the judge stated Sampson suffered a grave injustice. He has shown he will suffer the after effects of this injustice for the rest of his life. As for Matt, the judge stated the plaintiff was incarcerated for 6 months and faced the prospect of either a life sentence or the death penalty for a crime he did not commit. There is evidence that the plaintiff is affected more negatively than it would a person of average intelligence. Additionally, there is evidence that Livers suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, sleep problems, irritability, anxiety, and depression as a result of the experience. Kofod ended up serving 18 months in prison. Following his conviction, he had no choice but to resign from his position. He now lives in North Carolina. Additionally, the other cases Kofod mysteriously found blood in were appealed and thus far have been unsuccessful. Jessica Reid and Gregory Fester were also eventually taken to trial. They were found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. While serving her sentence, Jessica seems to have turned her life around. In June of 2018, she even gave a TED Talk to the Nebraska Correctional Center for Women, in which she currently resides.
I take every chance to learn and help everyone I can. I still follow my purpose to help strengthen my community, and I'm leaving my future up to my higher power, God. Fate arises when we allow ourselves to slow down and let the world in around us. Let your ability to be happy and make every moment count bring you peace.
I don't even know. I just went along with it. And at first I just picked people. I guess I had picked out Nick Sampson, and I didn't even mean to. It just started coming out. But at the end of the day, it didn't feel right. You can't just cover it up. I feel like if you've done something, you might as well own it. And that's what I did.